Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Senator Thune drops pilot training provision from proposed FAA bill. SpaceX plans short Mars flights as early as 2019. And aviation fuel shortage causing problems in Canada. Hello, I'm Laura Hutson. It's March 14th, and this is Airborne Unlimited. Another continuous issue potentially blocking passage of a long-term and FAA authorization bill was dropped by its sponsor. Senator John Thune, chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, apparently withdrew a controversial provision from the Senate version of the FAA funding legislation that would have reduced the amount of training needed for pilots to become first officers for U.S. airlines. Thune's proposal would have allowed pilots to count activities other than actual flight hours toward the 1,500-hour requirement for an airline job. Among them would have been time accumulated in flight simulators. Senator Charles Schumer had vowed to block a floor vote on the bill if it contained Thune's provision on pilot training. Last month, Congressman Bill Schuster dropped his proposal to privatize air traffic control, which was opposed by a large segment of the GA and business aviation communities. There are still some differences to be resolved. The Senate version of the FAA reauthorization allocates $68 billion over 4 years, while the House proposal is for $62.25 billion. Congress is expected to pass at least one more continuing resolution on FAA funding before a long-term bill is finalized. After the break, FAA revokes AeroBearings repair station certificate.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Based on the popular Sling 2 LSA, the Sling 4 was designed to be the most practical and desirable lightweight four-place experimental aircraft on the market. Find out more about this 115 horsepower turbocharged airplane at airplanefactory.com.
Welcome back. If you have a story suggestion for Airborne Unlimited, Aero-TV, Airborne Unmanned, the AMA Drone Report, our website or podcast, just email to news-spy@aero-news.net. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. The FAA has issued an emergency order of revocation against Kornisky Group LLC, doing business as AeroBearings LLC of Arlington, Texas, for improperly overhauling and repairing turbine engine bearings. The FAA alleges that AeroBearings routinely disassembles, inspects, and overhauls turbine engine bearings without possessing the data necessary to perform key aspects of this safety-critical work. The FAA further alleges that the repair station intentionally falsified documents, certifying that these repairs were accomplished in accordance with appropriate data and federal safety regulations. Gogo has appointed Oakleigh Thorne as President and Chief Executive Officer effective immediately. Mr. Thorne's appointment follows the mutual decision by Michael J. Small and the Gogo Board of Directors for Mr. Small to step down as President and CEO and as Director of the company. It's time to have fun and enjoy the accomplishments and importance of space in Las Cruces and the surrounding community. To celebrate all things space, volunteers have come together to create New Mexico's first ever Space Festival. It will take place over 3 days and nights, April 12th to 14th, across 3 locations. The theme is Making Space for Everyone. Dayer has appointed SRK Avicom PVT Ltd. as the area sales representative for TBM Very Fast Aircraft on the Indian subcontinent. Based at New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport, Avicom is a leading sales organization for aircraft and helicopters in India, as well as a provider of professional flight simulators. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. Elon Musk told an audience at the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, that he expects to be flying short excursions to Mars by next year, but hedged his remarks, saying that the timeline might be optimistic. Musk said that getting to Mars is all about getting the appropriate spaceship built. Musk acknowledges that there are skeptics who don't think such a voyage is currently possible. So if we show them that it is, they'll up their game and build interplanetary transport vehicles as well, he said. Musk went on to explain his vision for an early Martian colony, including his ideas about its form of government. He does not see colonies on Mars, or the Moon for that matter, as being an escape hatch for the rich. He said that they are more likely to be populated by people with a frontier mentality. Meanwhile, he also mentioned that he's not a big proponent of flying cars. When asked, "Do you want all your neighbors having a flying car?" he answered, "Oh, you want a flying car? How about everyone around you has a flying car too? That doesn't sound so good." After these messages, aviation fuel shortage causing problems in Canada.
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics Personal Jet Kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying. It's time to put your money where your bucket list is. Learn more at sonicsaircraft.com.
Welcome back. An aviation fuel shortage in Canada, caused by reported possible quality control issues at Imperial Oil, is grounding many GA pilots in Canada and affecting some businesses as well. The problem was reported by Imperial Oil to Transport Canada on February 13th. 100 low-lead avgas produced at the company's Strathcona refinery near Edmonton since December 28th was reported to have an issue with the electrical conductivity, which could lead to improper fuel levels being indicated by an aircraft's instruments. Transport Canada issued a notice to airmen for the fuel, which led to airports across the country to suspend its sale and quarantine stocks on hand. Some fuel stocks have been tested and approved for use, but many airports are still refraining from selling the gas. Canadian Owners and Pilots Association Manager of Government Affairs and Communications, Carter Mann, remarked that the fuel shortage is affecting flight schools and some delivery businesses, as well as recreational GA flyers. A spokeswoman for Imperial said that the company is making progress on testing stocks that have already been delivered to airports, but wouldn't provide a timeline for when the company would resume production of 100 low-lead avgas. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is currently on our winter schedule and is streamed Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, alternating with Airborne Unmanned on Tuesday and the AMA Drone Report each Thursday. Additional breaking news bulletins may be posted for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. See you tomorrow.